So, Dostoevsky, Crime and Punishment. I mean, it's a classic. But why? Why does it still kind of hit us today,
Yeah.
What is it about this book? Well, that's what we're going to look at in this deep dive. We're using some excerpts from a brand new translation, right?
Yeah.
Of Crime and Punishment.
Fresh off the presses.
And some pretty cool bioinfo on Dostoevsky himself.
Right.
So our mission, should we choose to accept it, is to kind of see how his life, his background,
Oh, yeah.
might have shaped Crime and Punishment.
Right.
And why this book, why does it grab us? Why are the characters and themes still so powerful?
Yeah. I mean, Dostoevsky's life
Yeah.
was pretty remarkable, full
Yeah.
of these hardships
Right.
and just profound experiences, and they really
Yeah.
influenced his writing.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
He even spent time in a Siberian prison camp.
A prison camp. I mean,
Yeah.
that's intense. How did he end
Yeah.
up there?
Well, he was involved in this group, and they discussed banned books, and they were challenging the political and social norms of the time.
I see.
And this landed him in prison, basically.
Wow.
Yeah, and so there he was confronting the harshest realities of human suffering.
Yeah, I mean, being in a place like that, I
Yeah.
can't even imagine the impact that that would have on you.
It was completely transformative. Yeah. And, he wrote a whole memoir about it, Notes from the House of the Dead. And in it, he describes the physical and psychological torment
Oh, yeah.
of prison life. It's really a chilling look into the criminal mind
I bet.
and the depths of human despair.
I mean, that's a pretty powerful connection to Crime and Punishment.
Right, absolutely.
I mean, the
So-
novel also deals with guilt, punishment, and this idea of redemption. And those are things that Dostoevsky must have, really thought about during his time in prison.
Oh, without a doubt. He saw the consequences of breaking society's laws, but he also explored, the internal struggles of individuals wrestling with their own moral compass.
Right, right.
And this brings us to Raskolnikov, the main character of the novel.
Okay, yeah. Raskolnikov, this intense, brilliant, troubled student.
Yeah.
He commits the crime, right?
Yes.
But it seems like there's more to it than just a random act of violence.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got this messed up justification for what he does.
He does. He believes that he is an extraordinary man, someone who's above conventional morality and the laws that bind ordinary people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So he's like a Napoleon figure.
He sees himself that way, yeah, capable of shaping the world to his own will.
So because he thinks he's so exceptional, he can take a life. I mean, that's dark.
Yeah, it's a very dangerous and unsettling philosophy.
Very unsettling.
Yeah, and Dostoevsky uses Raskolnikov's actions and then the turmoil that follows to really explore the problems with that kind of thinking.
Yeah.
Is anyone really above the law? Can we ever justify violence, even if we think it's for a greater good?
Wow. Those are questions for the ages.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we see people grappling with these moral dilemmas
Every day.
all the time. Yeah, even, governments and stuff.
Absolutely. And Dostoevsky doesn't shy away from the complexity of it. He presents these philosophical questions through a cast of unforgettable characters.
Right.
And they're all flawed. They're all deeply human. Take Marmeladov, for instance.
Marmeladov. Yeah, the tragic drunk we meet early on in the book. Man, that guy, he sticks with you.
He does.
What makes him so memorable?
He embodies the depths of suffering and despair that Dostoevsky witnessed in prison.
Okay.
This is a man who's lost everything.
Yeah.
Job, dignity, his family's respect.
Yeah, yeah.
But even in that, even in his degradation, there's a strange, almost grotesque humor to his character.
Yeah.
His confession in the tavern, it's heartbreaking, but it's also darkly comedic.
Right. That scene where he's just pouring his heart out to Raskolnikov, it's like a train wreck.
Totally.
You can't look away.
It's compelling.
It's awful, but you want to see what happens.
Exactly. Dostoevsky is a master at capturing the complexities of human nature,
Yeah.
even in characters who seem repulsive at first glance.
Right.
He forces us to confront this uncomfortable reality that even the most marginalized people possess a certain dignity.
Right, right. And then there's Sonia. She's like the opposite of Marmeladov.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally different.
She's like the moral compass of the whole story.
Yeah, Sonia's a remarkable character. Despite, being forced into prostitution to support her family, she keeps her faith, she keeps her compassion.
It's incredible.
Yeah, she's pure goodness.
In this world of darkness.
Exactly.
And she's the one who reads the story of Lazarus to Raskolnikov?
Yes.
That's a big moment for him.
Huge moment.
Why is that scene so important?
Sonia's reading, it represents hope, the possibility of resurrection.
I see.
And it's a turning point for Raskolnikov, who is, drowning in guilt and despair.
Right.
And her faith, her unwavering belief in him, in his capacity for redemption, it plants the seeds for his eventual transformation.
I can't wait to dig into that more. But, before we go, we got to acknowledge Crime and Punishment.
Yeah.
It's a total page-turner. It's a thriller.
Oh, absolutely.
The suspense surrounding his crime, man, it keeps you on the edge of your seat. How does Dostoevsky do that?
Well, he meticulously details the planning and the execution of the murder.
Yeah.
We see the world through Raskolnikov's increasingly paranoid and distorted lens.
Yeah. It's like you're right there with him.
You are.
Yeah. And then there's the investigator, Porfiry Petrovich. He's not your typical detective, is he?
No, he's playing a psychological game with Raskolnikov.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He suspects him right from the start, but he doesn't use those traditional methods.
Oh, interesting.
No. He engages Raskolnikov in this battle of wits.
I love it.
Yeah, using subtle psychological pressure to try to break him down.
It's like a cat and mouse game.
It is.
Their conversations, man, you can feel the tension building.
Absolutely. Porfiry understands that Raskolnikov is already suffering internally.
Right.
He's his own worst enemy.
Yeah, yes.
And Porfiry's just a catalyst,
I see.
pushing Raskolnikov closer to the edge, forcing him to face the weight of his actions.
This is good stuff. I am so ready to dive into the details of the crime itself.
Well, hold on. Patience.
Okay.
We'll unpack the events surrounding the crime in our next segment.
All right, listeners, get ready for part 2, where we'll examine the circumstances that lead to Raskolnikov's fateful act and its immediate aftermath. Stay tuned.
Okay, so we left off with Raskolnikov, right? Totally messed up philosophy, thinks he's above it all. But what was the final straw? Like, what pushed him over the edge? What made him do it?
Well, there's a bunch of things going on. Do you remember that letter he gets from his mother? Yeah. It's not just like, hey, how you doing?
No, more like a trigger, I'd say. A catalyst.
Yeah.
Sends him spiraling.
Right, she talks about Dunya, his sister, and how he's going to marry Luzhin, this guy.
Oh, yeah, Luzhin. All about climbing the social ladder. Doesn't really care about Dunya, just what she represents.
Exactly. It's Dostoevsky, right?
Yeah.
He takes this normal thing, like a marriage proposal, and uses it to show how desperate things are.
For sure.
Raskolnikov, he sees his sister sacrificing herself for the family. Marrying a jerk because they need money. I mean, that's got to fuel some rage, some resentment.
Absolutely. The system, society, it's all rigged, pushing people into these corners.
So it's not just some intellectual exercise, right? This extraordinary man idea.
Nope.
It's personal. He wants to protect his family, fix this injustice.
It's all tied together, and that's where the theory becomes dangerous. He thinks he's the only one who can break free from the rules, even if it means violence.
Okay, and then we get to the pawnbroker, right?
Yeah.
Raskolnikov's victim.
She represents everything he hates.
Greed, taking advantage of people, the whole system, basically.
Yeah, she's like this symbol. He convinces himself that killing her will make the world a better place, like he's some kind of, I don't know, avenger or something.
But it's not cold and calculated, right? I mean, he has that crazy dream about the horse being beaten.
Oh, yeah, that dream. That's crucial. Foreshadowing the violence, Dostoevsky showing us what's going on inside Raskolnikov's head. This isn't some hardened criminal. He's tormented.
Yeah. It's like we're feeling the weight of this decision with him.
Right there with him.
All the planning, the alibis, even practicing the murder, it's intense.
And Dostoevsky, he's not afraid to show us the darkness, but he also wants us to think about why. Why would someone do something so awful? What are the justifications, even if they're twisted?
Man. And then the moment comes. Raskolnikov goes to the pawnbrokers, axe in hand. The tension in those scenes.
It's palpable. Dostoevsky, he draws it out. The hesitation, the fear, and then that chilling resolve, the way he describes it.
It's brutal, shocking. But what happens after? That's what gets me. How does he deal with it?
He doesn't. At least. Paranoia, guilt. Haunted by what he did. Prisoner in his own mind, way before the cops are even on to him.
That's what I love about Crime and Punishment. It's more than just a whodunit. It's going deep, right, into the human mind. How guilt can eat you alive. How actions have these crazy consequences you can't predict.
He was so brilliant, and now it's like that brilliance is twisted, turned against him. Fear, self-hatred, he pushes away the people who care about him. Makes it even worse.
Yeah, like he wants to disappear, but he's also trying to pretend everything's normal. And then Porfiry shows up, the investigator.
Oh, Porfiry. He sees right through Raskolnikov from the start.
Yeah.
Porfiry, he's something else. Not just solving a case, he's in Raskolnikov's head.
It's like a battle, right?
A psychological battle.
I love it.
He can tell Raskolnikov is lying. Uses little hints, little pronouncements. He dismantles Raskolnikov's facade piece by piece.
Their conversations, it's like a chess match.
Exactly. Full of double meanings, these little jabs. Porfiry, he's enjoying this. He sees the tragedy, but he's fascinated by Raskolnikov.
The intelligence, but all those bad choices.
And he knows deep down the only way for Raskolnikov to find peace is to confess. Take responsibility.
And then, just when you think it's going that way, Dostoevsky throws a curveball. Nikolai the painter, he confesses.
Oh yeah, Nikolai adds a whole other level to this.
But why? Why the fake confession?
Well, a few reasons. Shows how messed up the justice system can be. Truth gets lost in the shuffle. But it's a test for Raskolnikov, too.
A test. How so?
Porfiry, he knows Nikolai didn't do it. But he wants to see how Raskolnikov reacts. Will he let an innocent man take the fall?
Or will it force him to come clean? Because of guilt, maybe even a little bit of wanting to do the right thing.
Exactly. Dostoevsky, he's playing with us, keeps us guessing, makes us question what we think we know.
Okay, so Nikolai confesses, and the investigation seems to be, like, at a dead end. What happens next?
Ugh. But this is Dostoevsky, remember? Things are never that simple. The real action, it's all in Raskolnikov's mind. His torment, nowhere near over.
So the big question, will he confess? Or will he just keep destroying himself?
And what does redemption even mean for someone like him? A man who did something so terrible? Those answers, my friend, are waiting for us in part 3.
So Raskolnikov, he's in this deep hole of guilt and paranoia, right? After the murders. I mean, can he come back from that? Can somebody like him, who thought he was above it all, can he really find redemption?
That's $1 million question, isn't it? That's what Dostoevsky's wrestling with in Crime and Punishment, right? And the answer, well, it's not so simple. It's Dostoevsky, right? But there's one character, she kind of embodies this idea of redemption.
Sonia.
Sonia. She's like a beacon for Raskolnikov.
There's Sonia. Forced into prostitution to take care of her family, but she never loses her faith, her compassion. Even when Raskolnikov confesses to her, she doesn't judge him.
No. She sees his suffering. She sees the man beneath the crime. And she believes that he can be redeemed. But he has to own up to what he did. He has to take responsibility and ask for forgiveness.
But man, Raskolnikov is so conflicted. His pride, his intellect, this idea that he's somehow special.
Totally, he goes back and forth. Should he confess? Or hold on to these justifications he's built up. There's that scene where he almost confesses to Zametov at the police station, but he can't do it. Too much pride. And then he even thinks about suicide. Wandering around by the canal, just totally lost in despair.
It's like this constant battle in his head. He knows what he did was wrong, but he can't let go of this belief that he's different, that he's above the rules.
Yeah. And then there's Svidrigailov, adding another layer to all of this.
Oh yeah, Svidrigailov.
He's like the dark side of Raskolnikov.
Creepy guy.
He's embraced nihilism, thinks life is meaningless, that morality is a joke.
Right. He's the path Raskolnikov could have gone down.
Exactly, if he had given into that darkness.
And remember, Svidrigailov is obsessed with Dunya, Raskolnikov's sister. He wants to use her, offer her a way out of poverty, but just to satisfy his own needs.
It's predatory. It shows the corruption all around Raskolnikov. But Dunya, she's different. She has a strong moral compass. She sees through Svidrigailov.
Rejects him.
And Svidrigailov, he can't handle that. Can't handle his own emptiness. He ends up taking his own life. A pretty bleak ending. A warning to Raskolnikov about where that kind of thinking leads.
It's a wake-up call, right?
Yeah. Svidrigailov's death is a turning point for Raskolnikov. He sees where his choices are taking him. All that emptiness, all that despair.
So he finally breaks down and goes to the police. Confesses.
He does. He goes to the police station. Confesses to the murders. But even then, it's complicated. It's not this, like, pure moment of, I'm sorry. He's still struggling.
He's still holding on to that pride.
Yeah. It's not easy for him to let go. But it's a step, a culmination of all that guilt, all that fear. He's realizing he can't escape what he did.
And Porfiry, he's been waiting for this. He's not just about punishment, right?
No. He wants Raskolnikov to truly understand what redemption means.
To really feel remorse. To want to change.
Exactly. Confession is just the beginning. It's the first step on a long road.
So Raskolnikov gets sentenced to 8 years of hard labor in Siberia. It's rough, but it's a chance for him to redeem himself. And Sonia, she goes with him.
Yeah, she's amazing. She doesn't abandon him. She believes in him even when he doesn't believe in himself. That's real love, real compassion.
And in the epilogue, he starts to find peace, accepts Sonia's love, and he realizes that redemption isn't about justifying what he did, but about being better.
Yeah, it's hopeful. Dostoevsky's showing us that even after all that darkness, there's still light. There's always a chance to change, to grow, to find meaning, even in the worst situations.
So we've seen crime, we've seen punishment, this long, hard journey towards redemption. What does it all mean for us, for the readers? Why is crime and punishment still so powerful after all these years?
I think it's because Dostoevsky gets us. He gets to the heart of what it means to be human. He asks the tough questions, the ones we all think about. Good and evil, justice, forgiveness. He shows us that we're all capable of terrible things, but also amazing things.
We have the power to choose. Our choices matter, but there's always hope. Even someone like Raskolnikov, consumed by guilt and despair, can find a way back. That's a powerful message. It's timeless. It gives us comfort. It inspires us.
Crime and Punishment, it's not just a story about one man. It's a reflection of our own struggles, our own capacity for darkness and light. It's about who we are.
So listeners, as we wrap up this deep dive, one last thought. If Raskolnikov, after everything he did, can find a glimmer of hope, a chance for a better future, what does that say about us? About our own potential for growth, for transformation? What choices will we make starting today to make things better?